Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for this afternoon, Mr. Abdulrahman, the journalist. It's a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Amr.
And a very good afternoon to you. Hello to you and the dear viewers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amr, for your time. Now, of course, in the Gaza Strip, the Israeli war of aggression continues for the 337th day. At least 13 Palestinian civilians were killed on Saturday alone, bringing up, of course, the death toll to over 40,878 Palestinians and over 94,454 injuries. How do you see the situation now on the ground? Still, international pressure is yielding no results. Even from the United States, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's government has gradually no response really on the ground, not even a gradual easing of attacks on the Palestinian civilians.
Well, I believe there is a kind of charade played by the members of the cabinet in Tel Aviv. Some of them playing the role of the stream of stopping the war and to change the hostages and the captives, and the other stream, the other wing, are played with symbols or members or opinions that claim that war is the only solution to end that conflict. On the account, of course, on the account of more bloodshed, more catastrophic results of the Zionist aggression against the Arabic occupied land. We would if we just think as if the enemy thinks that it wants to eliminate the resistance from Gaza Strip. So what the Western back has got to do with this thinking? You are fighting the resistance in Gaza Strip. What leads you to take the fight into the heart of Palestine, which is in the Western Bank? For 10 years, for 10 days, or even 12 days now, the aggression has continued against the cities in the Western Bank. They claim that they have temporarily stopped that aggression. But what is the main cause? The main cause here is to continue the conflict, and is to continue the aggression, and to continue the occupation. Today, I had an information from a source that assures that the main target of Israel is to keep occupying all of Gaza Strip, the whole thing, whether the Gaza Strip or the Netzarim corridor or the Salah ad-Din corridor. They are meaning to keep the occupation of all those territories, added to the occupation to the rest of the Palestinian land. So what does this leave us as? That leaves us as a true aggression against the whole Arabic nation. A stand should be taken by the Arabic nation. The leaders of the Arabic nations should never, ever count what so-called efforts given by the U.S. or the West at all.
Indeed, Mr. Amr. Now, of course, we've seen many reports recently published, and the latest of which by a UN independent investigator on the right to food, just the right to have food and nutrition. And he accused Israel of carrying out a starvation campaign against the Palestinians during the war in Gaza. The investigator, Michael Fakhri, claimed this campaign began just 2 days after the first attacks on October the 7th, and said that already within 2 days the Israeli military had said it blocked all food, water, fuel and other supplies to Gaza. How do you see this campaign by the Israeli occupation to starve the Palestinians?
Well, I see that starvation campaign against the Arabic territory and the Arabic occupied land didn't just start 2 days ago, or since the war at October 7th. It has begun years ago. We are talking years of starvation, of building a siege of fire against Gaza Strip. Only that siege of fire that created terrorism groups, only that was the reason for terrorism. On the account of true Palestinian resistance. But right now, each and every Palestine person is a resistor and a fighter, whether a man or a woman or a child. They all have the right to defend their own land in Gaza Strip, in all of Palestine. The starvation didn't start those weeks. The aggression didn't start October 7th. The aggression against the Holy Mosque in Jerusalem didn't start those days or those months. It has been continuously, each and every week, the same crime, the same vicious crime against the Holy Mosque in Jerusalem, committed by the same members of the same government, the Zionist government. What's new? They try to claim that they are a reaction of an action. Well, this is not true.
Absolutely.
The action is the aggression since years ago.
And of course, we're also seeing now, as Gaza enters its second school year. Of course, as all schools should be back this week. Most Palestinian children will be usually back to school, but Palestinian children are unable to do so, as 90% of their schools have either been partly or totally damaged or turned into, camps for refugees. This year, students are not going back to school for the second year in a row, and we are seeing children caught up in, helping their families in the daily struggle of just surviving, whether they're collecting rubble or carrying water or standing in queues for food, to get food at kitchens and aid centers. How do you see this and the right, of course, we're talking about 625,000 school-aged children that are already missing out on their education, missing out on almost an entire year of education?
Well, this is, of course, a true and a clear denial of one of the main rights of what they call it human rights in the United Nations and other associations, international associations or organizations. This is a true denial of one of the main solid human rights of the Palestinians in Gaza Strip and anywhere in Palestine. So letting alone that, we're talking about how many families are being totally destroyed. How many families? How many thousands of the martyrs and those children left without family? That lone child that is left with an injury, with a cut arm, with a cut leg, for the rest of his life. We're talking about the whole bunch of the human rights are denied by the Zionist existence for the Palestinians. In which law? Only the law, not even the law of jungle. Not even the law of jungle. The law of jungle is fair among animals. But this is lower than the law of jungle. So we are talking about a generation will be created from that bloodshed and will take the weapon and fight for its own freedom and liberate its country whatsoever, today, tomorrow, next month, next year, next decade, but it's going to happen. That's for the Zionist existence should realize this is the true fact This is the historical fact that has ever been repeated century after century, occupation after occupation, for thousands of years. Never an occupation has lasted forever.
Indeed. On that note, I'd like to thank you very, very much, Mr. Amr Abdulrahman, our guest and the journalist. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your insight. And still with more news, of course, as schools shut down after Israel launched its assault on the territory in October 2023 and have since been packed with displaced people. Also, many education institutions are left in ruins. Most of the children now are working on just getting a living, sometimes at activities that are beyond their capacities. We have more details in this report. The United Nations independent investigator on the right to food accused Israel of carrying out a starvation campaign against Palestinians during its war in Gaza. In a report this week, investigator Michael Fakhri claimed the starvation camp sting began 2 days after Israel was attacked on October the 7th. He added that in line with Israel's military offensive in response, Israel announced it blocked all food, water, fuel and other supplies into Gaza. Following intense international pressure, especially from close ally the U.S., Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government gradually opened several border crossings for tightly controlled deliveries. Fakhri said limited aid initially went mostly to southern and central Gaza, not to the north, where Israel had ordered Palestinians to leave. Professor at the University of Aragon School of Law, Fakhri was appointed by the Geneva-based UN Human Rights Council as the investigator or special rapporteur on the right to food and assumed the role in 2020. Fakhri said by December, Palestinians in Gaza made up 80% of the people in the world experiencing famine or catastrophic hunger. He added, never in post-war history had a population been made to go hungry so quickly and so completely as was the case for the 2.3 million Palestinians living in Gaza. He claims it goes back to 76 years to Israel's independence and its continuous dislocation of Palestinians. Since then, he's accused Israel of deploying the full range of techniques of hunger and starvation against the Palestinians, perfecting the degree of control, suffering and death that it can cause through food systems. Meanwhile, Israel insists it no longer places restrictions on the number of aid trucks entering Gaza, including food. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denied the accusation of an Israeli policy starvation in a press conference.